All of us love a good mythical story. The legends, the heroes, the weapons, the wars, everything is just captivating. But one thing that actually makes these stories even more fascinating is the locations. And what location could be more majestic than a mountain? Let's have a look at some of the mythical mountains in the world. Number 10. Mount Ararat. Located in Turkey, near the borders of Armenia and Iran, Mount Ararat holds a special place in mythology, as it is believed to be the final resting place of Noah's Ark. And the fact that it's a dormant volcano was not enough to get people to stay away from it. Attempts have been made since the Middle Ages to look for the Ark, but it was only in 1829 that it was actually scaled. The whole search began because of the mention of Ararat in the book of Genesis, where it is said that after the flood, Noah's Ark landed on the mountains of Ararat. Hence, the mountain has taken on biblical proportions. But unfortunately, none of the searches have ever revealed anything. That hasn't stopped people from looking though, as they genuinely believe that remains of the ship can still be found in the mountains. There have been claims, of course, and according to a 1974 book, 200 people from over 20 countries have claimed to see remnants of the Ark, but nothing has been verified. Number 9. Mount Kailash. Located in the Tibet Autonomous Region of China, Mount Kailash plays a huge role in the Hindu mythologies. Hindus have many gods, but the chief gods among them are Brahma the creator, Vishnu the preserver, and Shiva the destroyer. Kailash is supposedly the home of Shiva, where he sits in a state of perpetual meditation along with his wife Parvati. It is said that no one who has committed any sin can ever climb the mountain. And when you consider that it is one of the only few mountains in the world that nobody has been able to scale, it sort of does ring true, and not just in reality. Even in Hindu mythology, only one person has ever been known to climb the mountain, who was Yudhishthira. But still, that hasn't stopped pilgrims from visiting the foothills of Kailash, where the Mansarovar Lake is present. It is the largest freshwater lake in the world, and is even the starting point for many rivers. And what's more is that not just Hindus, but almost all religions in the region consider Mount Kailash to be holy. Number 8. Jade Mountain. China is a land shrouded by mysticism and magic. So obviously there will be a number of mythological tales in the country. And the Jade Mountain holds a special place in the folklore of China, as it was home to the Queen Mother of the West. Her actual name is Zi Wangmu, and the first mention of her can be traced to oracle bones of 15th century BC, and she is said to have predated Taoism itself. She was supposedly a wild and fearsome spirit, and was a deity of disaster, disease, and punishment. The Jade Mountain was where she dwelled, and although she looked human, she had a panther's tail and tiger's teeth, and could roar quite loudly. Of course, her description has changed with various dynasties, and she has also been referred to as a beautiful princess. People also believed that she possessed the elixir of immortality as well. Number 7. Kunlun. One of the longest mountain chains in the world, spreading to over 3,000 kilometers, the Kunlun Mountains have a special place in the mythology of China. According to the mythology, Kunlun is where the Heavenly Emperor, also known as the Yellow Emperor, stays. The mountain is supposedly protected by a deity with a tiger body and 9 tails. Kunlun is also credited as the source of the Yellow River, and it is believed that even the fabled city of Shangri-La lies in the mountains. Descriptions of Kunlun include it being made of gem-like rocks. Perhaps that is the reason people believe that it is the throne of the supreme deity, and think of it as a pillar which is holding up the sky. It is said that King Mu of Zhou often used to visit the Kunlun Mountains, which was probably why the Zhou dynasty was at its peak during its reign. There are many legends and myths surrounding the Kunlun Mountains, and almost everyone in China reveres it as the actual stairway to heaven. Number 6. Mount Penglai. Also known as Horai in the Japanese mythology, Mount Penglai is an important place for both Japanese and Chinese mythology. According to the Chinese, the mountain is the base for the 8 immortals, where they traveled for banquets. They believe that everything on the mountain is white with palaces made of gold and platinum. There are supposed to be rice bowls and wine glasses which never empty, and that there is no pain and no winter there. Many people in China have tried to search for this land of immortality, but no one has ever found it. According to the Japanese, however, Penglai, or Horai, is not free from pain and does not have magical bowls and glasses. They believe that the atmosphere of the mountains is not made from air, but from innumerable souls. The legends also say that if you breathe the air in the Horai Mountains, you are granted the perceptions and knowledge of all these souls. The residents of the mountain are not human, but small fairies who have no evil in their hearts, and so they never get old. It doesn't really matter whether you believe in the Chinese or the Japanese versions, as both cases the mountain is pretty awesome, and it's kind of sad that we never really been able to find a mountain like that. Number 5. Mount Etna. Located on the east coast of Sicily, Etna is an active stratovolcano and is also the highest volcano in Europe outside the Caucasus. It plays an active part in Greek mythology as well, and many of the ancient Greeks consider it sacred. Mount Etna is supposed to be where the forge of Vulcan, or Hephaestus, is. He is the god of fire and the god of forge, and it's easy to believe where that derivation comes from, considering the lava that keeps flowing from the mountain. Another story that is associated with Mount Etna is that the dangerous and serpentine giant Typhon, who battled Zeus for the supremacy of the cosmos, was buried under Etna after his defeat, and perhaps it is his anger which bubbles forth as the hot lava. Number 4. Mount Athos. Located in the northeast part of Greece, Mount Athos is home to almost 20 monasteries of the Eastern Orthodox monasticism, and perhaps the reason they find it so important is because of its role in Greek mythology. According to the legend, Athos was a giant who led them in their battle against the Olympians, who were led by Poseidon. During the battle, Athos supposedly threw a massive rock at Poseidon. Athos kind of missed though, and the rock landed safely as it fell into the sea. And there it formed the pyramid-shaped mountain, which shared its name. Another legend associated with the mountain is that the ancient god Apollo fell in love with the daughter of the king of Arcadia, who hid in the mountains to keep her virginity. Not a bad place to hide, right? Number 3. Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta has been the center of many religious legends, but perhaps the most famous one is the one that the Klamath tribe believe in. According to them, Lao, the god of the world below, once fell in love with a daughter of the Klamath chief, but she rejected him. Angered, he was about to let loose his vengeance when the people prayed to Skel, the god of the world above, to stop him. The two gods then stood on top of two mountains, Skel on Shasta and Lao on the nearby mountain Mazarna. They flung fiery rocks back and forth, and it became so intense that two medicine men sacrificed themselves. That drove Skel into a fury, and he was finally able to defeat Lao, and being at peace once again. We believe that Lao wasn't too happy about it, as Mazarna is a volcanic mountain and still spews lava. Number 2. Mount Meru. Perhaps the most important mythical mountain, Mount Meru is a sacred 5-peak mountain in the Hindu, Jain, and Buddhist lore. It is considered to be the center of all universes, and many temples of these faiths have been designed as homage to Mount Meru. According to the Hindu lore, Mount Meru is supposedly about 85 times taller than the Earth itself, and the sun and all planets revolve around it. All the principal deities of the Hindu mythology have their abode on or near Mount Meru, and they and their disciples reside in it, waiting for their next birth. According to the Jains, Mount Meru is the center of the world and surrounded by Jambudvida, which is basically the terrestrial world. It is supposedly in the form of a huge circle with 2 sets of sun, moon, and stars. Apparently, the second set doesn't work and hides behind the mountain. In the Buddhist cosmology, the universe was essentially seen as flat, and Mount Meru was the center of all things. The universe was then surrounded by a vast expanse of water, which, in turn, was surrounded by a vast expanse of the wind. Whichever version you choose to believe, it's very clear that Mount Meru is basically the center of the universe. No wonder that most of the temples are designed along the lines of what is supposedly its peak. Number 1. Olympus. Of course, this had to be the first. Mount Olympus is the home to the all-powerful Greek gods, including Zeus, the lightning god. Olympus is actually the tallest mountain in Greece, with 52 peaks. 12 Olympian gods stayed in the mountains, and the Matikas Peak, also known as Pantheon, was where they met to oversee the world. According to the lore, Olympus was created after a battle between the Titans and the Olympians, in which the Titans were defeated. The gods who stayed here were Zeus, Poseidon, Hera, Athena, Apollo, Artemis, Hestia, Demeter, Hermes, Aphrodite, Ares, and Hephaestus. Zeus was, of course, the primary god, sitting atop his massive throne and sending down lightning bolts where and when he pleased. The 9 muses, who were basically the daughters of Zeus, also resided in the foothills of the mountains. Olympus holds a special place in the hearts of all lovers of Greek mythology. Do let us know in the comments below if you've heard of any other mythical mountains that we missed, or maybe you've seen one for yourself. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for instant updates on our videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.